Thank you for tuning in. My name is Brian. We're going to be pre-recorded today. We're going to be going over all new material. We're going to be talking about the environment that the printer is in, how it affects your prints, parts, and let's just get right into it. So a very frequent issue that we run across is the printer being in direct sunlight. The ink system particularly is sensitive to sunlight. So sunlight's going to heat up your inks. Your ink is going to start curing when it reaches around 120 degrees. So direct sunlight is going to be a no-no. That ink is going to begin to cure in your ink system. You're going to get more clogging, just a higher viscosity on your inks. So the print head is going to have a hard time laying down the proper amounts of ink for your prints. So overall, avoid direct sunlight on the printer whenever you can. If you have the printer by a window, that's fairly common, but have those blinds shut. You don't want that light affecting your ink at all. You want as controlled of an environment as possible. The next topic, somewhat similar. It's going to be having your heat press too close to the printer. So you're going to have similar effects. With that heat press too close, you are going to start to see more clogging in the system, which means you're going to have ink flow issues. The viscosity is going to be higher, so you're going to have difficulty getting good prints. You're going to go through parts faster. Overall, keep that heat press and the heat that it generates away from your printer as much as you can. All right, so next one is going to be pre-treating too close to the printer. So pre-treat, being too close to the printer, is going to give you a variety of issues. So first off the bat, you are going to see corrosion in everything that the pre-treat will come in contact with that can corrode. A lot of the printer is stainless or just will not corrode, but enough of the printer can corrode. You're going to see a lot of corrosion here on the top. If it's bad enough, your circuit boards can have corrosion. The rails and other movement parts for your printer may begin to corrode. So keep that pre-treat away from the printer for that reason. In addition to that, the pre-treat is meant to coagulate your ink and make it easier to print onto fabrics. We do not want that pre-treat getting into your ink bottles and starting that process in the bottle. You're going to get severe clogging. It's going to basically ruin the ink in your system if that were to happen. The bottles do have that hole in the top, so it would be quite easy if you're pre-treating close to the printer. So keep that away from the printer if you value your parts and your productivity. So next is something that I get asked a lot, is the ideal temperature to keep the printer at. So for the reasons of clogging and maintaining the right viscosity, ideal situation for the printer, you're going to have one of these. You want to keep your printer between 60 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So right here on the close-up, we've got the humidity here, we've got your temperature here, and we have the ideal range. So this is going to indicate obviously low, high, and okay. These values at the sides are going to be the range that it's going to treat as okay. So that's going to help the printer print just like we have it here. Keep it as regular as possible. Humidity is going to be another effect that you need to monitor. This guy will help you with that as well. Your ideal humidity is going to be between 45 and 65%. The temperature in combination with the humidity is going to give you a variety of effects on your print and on the printer itself. So low humidity and high heat will clog the system faster, which means you're going to waste more ink on priming and head cleanings and replacement parts over time if it's maintained at a high temperature, low humidity. The viscosity will be higher because of the temperature, and the head will clog more easily because of the low humidity. The inverse of that would be low temperature, high humidity, and that would give you different problems. So with that, outside of the range that we have, you're going to experience more bleeding. Ink will be less viscous, so it will leave the head more easily. So you may end up putting too much ink slightly onto the shirt. So overall, keep it within that range that we just talked about in order to achieve the optimal results. So another topic that I wanted to touch on is going to be how you store your printer in your shop. So if you have a large open space, you're going to be a lot more prone to dust collecting on the printer, even if you're using it frequently. Unless you're dusting it all the time, you will have a fair amount of particulate buildup. So you want to make sure that you print with the lid closed if you can. I know some people really prefer to print with it up, and that's perfectly fine, but you will end up cleaning your encoders more frequently with this up. In addition to that, it is recommended that when you're not using it, if you do have it in a larger space where the particulates would be higher, you want to cover it with something like the plastic that the printer came in, for example, to help mitigate that dust collection on the printer. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this really particular issue that we run across sometimes with this scraping noise right here. All right, so when the clips are too high on the tubing here, they're going to scrape the inside of the lid and cause that noise like in the clip we just showed you. All you have to do, go ahead and carefully lower these clips, and the noise will stop. And that's it. Another factor to consider is the table that you have your printer on. You want to make sure that the table is nice and sturdy. Back in the day, I would advise people when doing trainings, if you're comfortable dancing on the table, then it should be sturdy enough for the printer. So that's kind of an unconventional rule of thumb to go off of there. We've covered all these topics. So one thing that you need to consider is planning ahead for the parts wearing out. You do have a variety of consumable parts in the printer. We've talked about that recently on Creators Live. But one thing that we didn't really go into was the more specifics about it. We do sell a parts kit called the Free Jet Support Kit. It's going to be $575, and it includes from right here to right here the consumable parts that you're going to need, excluding the print head. So you're going to have 8 replacement ink tube assemblies. That's the tubes that go here. 8 replacement clips that go on those tubes. You're also going to have the O-rings that go between those tubes and the dampers. You're going to have 8 dampers, the pads that go on either side of the printer, one in the waste ink tray and then one below the pump, and it includes a replacement pump. Individually, if you were to buy all of those as needed over time, that would net you $700 for the total price of all of that. With the bundle, it's going to be $575, so you're saving money. I do recommend you have those parts on hand. That way you don't have to wait for shipping when you need it and it's going to hold up your production, or you have to pay for like expedited shipping. That sucks. Save yourself the time, money, effort, and just get some consumable parts on hand so that you have it when you need it. And then one last thing to consider, you want to make sure that you always have enough ink on hand. So we do recommend you have at least 1 liter of each color, 2 liters of white on hand. That way when you do get those big jobs, you don't have to panic order or anything like that. You can make sure you get yourself the best deals. Keep some cleaning solution on hand, liter of that, and the super nozzle cleaner is always helpful just in case you get one of those dreaded head strikes, or if you have clogging issues that you can't resolve with the normal stuff. In addition to that, do keep in mind that the ink and pretreatment expires eventually. So you have 1 year shelf life on those items. Keep it within the temperature humidity range that we just specified for the printer overall, and you should be in good shape. All right, guys, so that's all of the information we've got today. Remember, I'm your customer success specialist, so you please let me know if there's anything that you need moving forward, whether it's tech support. Either I can help you or we can coordinate with a tech agent, and I'll kind of be your internal advocate for that. If you need ink and supplies, come to me. I can get you 15% discount. You just have to order through me, and we'll get you all taken care of. My email is Brian, B-R-Y-A-N, at omniprintonline.com. If you have any other questions, anything else that you want to see on a future Creators Live, you let me know. We always like the feedback, so you let us know what you want to see, and we can make it happen in the future. I think we're going to let it go for today. Thank you all for coming, and thank you so much for attending. We'll see you next week, 2 p.m., and I'll see you then.